You're a history buff or just looking to get spooky this Halloween, the city of Springfield is once again offering its Voices from the Grave tour to get you into the spirit.
Western Mass News reporter Addie Patterson did dare, and she has more on the annual haunted tradition.
People who have a love of history love this.
It's almost spooky season, and the Voices from the Grave Cemetery Tour is making its return to Springfield just in time. The event is hosted annually by the Springfield Preservation Trust and will open on October 15th. Attendees will have the chance to learn about important figures in Springfield history, touring through the Maple Street Cemetery's pathways. The Halloween time tour is led by costumed interpreters who educate visitors on some of the most notable cemetery residents.
People always come to our tours and learn something about history.
Over the years, the tour has been held at various Springfield cemeteries, including Oak Grove, where Dr. Luther Gulick, former head of the physical department at Springfield College, is buried. However, not everyone buried in the Voices of the Grave cemeteries lived in the city, including notable names like popular folk singer Pete Seeger's father and stepmother.
Neither one of them ever lived in Springfield, but Pete Seeger's grandfather lived in Springfield, and there was a plot. So that's why they're here.
And not only is the graveyard tour educational, but it's truly an experience for those who attend, especially those looking to get in the spooky spirit.
Feeling what it's like to be in this type of atmosphere, to see the relevance of the like what these graves were in terms of like what the people represented in the community, and that's just something that you get to take away, and you can look back and say, man, you know, I'd like to leave my marker on society.
Vice President of the Preservation Trust, James Johnson, tells Western Mass News the graveyard tour is just one of the many events the organization is involved with. So if Halloween isn't your thing, the Trust also offers other tours, including one of Springfield's historic homes and a food tour.
We are constantly doing things in the community so people can understand the impact of the history that Springfield has had and the people that created that history.
To learn more about Voices from the Grave or to purchase tickets, you can head on over to our website, westernmassnews.com. Reporting in Springfield, Addie Patterson for Western Mass News.